Football doesn't usually collapse all at once. It doesn't explode in one dramatic moment where everything clearly goes wrong. Most of the time, it breaks slowly, quietly, predictably. And if you listen carefully enough, someone is always warning you before it happens. In Spain's case, that someone was. He said it in 2024. He repeated it in 2025. And by 2026, every single thing he warned about had come true. But here's the part that makes this story different. Spain didn't collapse. They didn't fall apart. They're still one of the most dominant teams in world football. Which makes the question even more uncomfortable. How can a team be both dominant and completely unsustainable at the same time? To understand that, you have to go back to the beginning. For over a decade, Spain had a clear identity: control, possession, precision. The era of, and wasn't just successful, it was suffocating for opponents. But by the late 2010s, that identity started fading. Spain still had talent. What they didn't have was fear. Teams stopped being intimidated. Matches became predictable. And for the first time in years, Spain weren't setting the tempo anymore. They were reacting. That's when the rebuild began. Not loudly, not dramatically, but structurally. Spain didn't just want new players, they wanted a new kind of player. Faster, more direct, more aggressive. And eventually, they got exactly that. Two players changed everything. And they weren't just talented, they were disruptive. For the first time in years, Spain had wingers who didn't want to slow the game down. They wanted to destroy structure. Yamal played like someone who had never been told what was impossible. Nico played like someone who didn't care. And together, they forced Spain to evolve. The system adapted around them, not the other way around. Spain didn't enter Euro 2024 as favourites, but they left as something more dangerous than that. They left as a team nobody could define. 7 wins. 7. No compromises. No hesitation. Just control mixed with chaos. Yamal, at 16, wasn't just participating. He was deciding games. Nico wasn't just stretching defenses. He was breaking them. And Spain suddenly had something they hadn't had in years. Unpredictability. They could still dominate possession. But now, they could also kill you in seconds. That combination changed everything. Right in the middle of all that success, De La Fuente said something strange. Speed and power without control is useless. It sounded almost negative, out of place. Why would a manager say that after winning a tournament? Because he understood the cost. This wasn't sustainable. Not physically, not mentally, not structurally. And then he said something even more important. Protect him. He's still a kid. He wasn't talking about tactics. He was talking about survival. After the Euros, everything accelerated. Clubs needed results. The federation needed wins. Sponsors needed exposure. Media needed stories. And all of them needed the same 2 players. Yamal became essential overnight. Nico was already irreplaceable. Neither club could afford to rest them. Neither player would say no. And the calendar didn't care. Matches stacked up, minutes piled up, and slowly, the first cracks appeared. Injuries didn't arrive dramatically. They never do. They started small. Tightness, fatigue, minor strains. Things that seem manageable. Until they're not. Yamal picked up early knocks. Nothing serious, yet. Nico's situation was worse. Pubalgia, a chronic issue. One that doesn't disappear. One that follows you. And one that becomes dangerous under pressure. This is where the story shifts. Because now, it's not just about players. It's about control. De La Fuente had a clear stance. If you can play for your club, you can play for us. Simple, logical, and completely flawed. Because clubs and national teams don't share the same priorities. Barcelona, needed Yamal for the long term. Spain needed him now. And those 2 timelines collided. By 2025, a pattern had formed. Play, fatigue, injury, recovery. return, repeat. No reset, no real rest. Just management. And management is not recovery, it's delay. Spain had seen this before. 73 matches in a single season. A teenager carrying too much. And, eventually, breaking. Everyone knew the lesson. Nobody applied it. Yamal was heading down the same path, only faster. This is the moment everything becomes undeniable. Yamal sprints, stops, hamstring tear. Not a warning, a consequence. And suddenly, all the conversations change. While attention focuses on Yamal, Nico fades into uncertainty. Still managing pain, still inconsistent, still not fully available. Spain's two biggest weapons, compromised. Weeks before the World Cup. Here's where the story becomes complicated. Because despite everything, Spain are still dominant. They control games better than almost anyone. Their midfield depth is unmatched. Their tactical structure is elite. They win matches even when they're not at their best. That's not luck. That's system design. Spain didn't build a team. They built a machine that produces control, chances, and results. But like all machines, it requires output, constant output, and that output has a cost. This was never about one injury or one decision. It's structural. Too many matches, too many competitions, too many incentives to keep playing, no central control. Everyone benefits until the player breaks. De La Fuente wasn't wrong. He saw it coming. He said it clearly, repeatedly, and still, it happened because he wasn't the only one making decisions. And in modern football, no one really is. Spain might still win. They might still dominate. They might even lift another trophy. But that doesn't mean the system works. It just means the players are good enough to survive it. For now,